Okay, this is part C of the little bit of a series I've been doing here on preparing children for the death of someone they love. And this video is about three amazing, lovely, smart children. They were 2, 4, and 6 when their mom died. And so I met with the 6-year-old and the 4-year-old at school on a very regular basis because mom was, her condition was getting poor quickly. And so there was a lot of stuff kind of, they had a lot of questions all the time. And so I'd get together and they just answer the questions. Um, at home, mom had planned on dying at home. That was she did not want to die in hospital. She wanted to be at home. She wanted to be with her children. She wanted them prepared. So that's kind of how the work we did. I can remember talking to them about funerals. I went to see them one day at school, and the little 4-year-old said, "My dad said we got to get new dresses for this funeral we're going to. Mom's going to have a funeral, and we need new clothes." And so we got new dresses, and my brother got a shirt with a tie. The little boy that was 2, and the little boy was 2, and then the girls were 4 and 6. And so we talked about what a funeral was and what happens at a funeral. And she was kind of writing on the board of what was going to happen. And she goes, "This kind of sounds like a wedding. Is this a wedding we're going to?" And kind of, there's lots of family, and, you know, people all come dressed up, and they'll, some of them will cry though, because it's sad. And so we had great conversation about what a funeral was. And we had made different gifts for mom, things that they, once again, we could make things to bring her comfort, little presents that the kids can make and wrap up. We make a pillowcase, and I'll show you that later on, a pillowcase that we do with things that cheer mom up, or special memories on there that bring mom comfort. So that's what we had done. And they were very open and honest with these children. It was absolutely wonderful because these kids wanted information. They were pretty smart kids. The little guy was only 2, so he didn't quite understand what they were saying, but he was just happy-go-lucky guy and went along with what the girls were doing. But I went to work one day, and there was a message on my machine, from the mom of these 3 children, and she wanted to talk to me. And I had never met her before. I met the dad. The dad would sometimes bring the kids to the office, the little guy to the office, but I'd never met mom before. And so I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I made plans to see her that afternoon, and I had to drive. It was about a 40-minute drive from my work to go and see her. She was in our district. And on the way out, I was just having a fit. I thought, "What am I gonna say to this mom? How I have no great words of wisdom to bring her comfort. She's trying to say goodbye to her children. How horrible is that?" I was thinking of my own children at the time, and I thought, "I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit there and watch them and prepare for their death. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna say?" And so just then I popped in the CD that was on, turned on the radio, and there was a song on there. It was by Natalie Grant, and it was called "Held." And the part of the verse that said to me was, "When everything fails, the promise was that we'd be held." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, that's I can't fix this, but I can listen. I can go and sit at her table, and I can listen to what she has to say. There's nothing else I can do. She needs to be held. She needs to someone to listen." And so on the way out, it was like I had this peace about me, like, "Yeah, this not gonna fix this. Got nothing here, but I can listen and I can be there." And so when I went out to sit with her, and she was so happy to meet me, and I was so thrilled to meet her, and she was telling me that she wanted to know just how I was gonna help her kids. What am I gonna do to help her kids? So I explained to her, what we do, and, for, bereavement support, and what we do with the children, and how we talk about normal grief feelings, and we sometimes we list all the feelings we have, when someone dies, and then, what to do with those feelings. We talk about what grief is. We talk about what mourning is and how we're gonna mourn the death, or how we can bring comfort in our grief. And she said, okay. She goes, that's what I needed to know. I needed to know that someone was going to look after my kids, and be there for them. My husband is going to be overwhelmed with working. He still has to work full time, and we still have these 3 kids that he has to look after. I'm not going to be here. I just want to know that someone's going to be there. And I said, well, we will, as long as they need it. There's no limit on the number of sessions we can have. This program was funded um, through the community, so there was no cost to the family because they have enough of a burden in their life with someone dying. There was no cost, so we could see the kids as long as needed. And as it turned out, they didn't need all that much after. I mean, I continued to see them, but they were doing amazing because they were so well prepared for the death. And so it was wonderful sitting and talking to mom and just kind of bring her some peace that there would be support for her after her death. So that kind of made me feel good that I could do that to help her. So after that, we continued to meet and do little things, little activities, see how it was going, see how the kids were. They were doing okay in school. And then one day I went to work and I got a call from the 6-year-old on my phone. It was at 4 a.m. It was, I could see on the answering machine. And she's like, Connie, can you come to the house? Um, Mom died. Can you come and see us today? So I was like, yeah, I can come. So when I got there, the funeral home were just taking her away. And of course, when someone dies at home, just normal, usually there's the hospital bed in the middle of the room, and kind of, everything is around that bed, and that's kind of the focus on it. So when I went in, there was the bed in the living room with all the sheets off, and it was laying there empty. And so that was a huge, you know, this picture in my head of this empty hospital bed. It was really hard to see, but I stayed for about an hour and they were talking about who was coming in and food was coming to the house and lots of people were there and cousins were coming and this little one was going to go to grandma's and this one was going here and it was just a busy time and but I only talked to the kids just a tiny little bit, but they wanted me to come. They wanted me to know this is what's happening, and it was really nice to be a part of that since you do so much work. It's not a job; it's kind of a part of you when it's somebody's death, right? So, and we'll talk about caring for ourselves when you're dealing with a lot of death in other videos, but these 3 videos are just some examples of children that you think may be too little to understand or too little to get it. Well, I'm telling you, they do get it, and they're smart, and they need to be prepared for the death. They need comfort in this journey, and we can do that. And anybody can do that. I'm the reason I'm sharing this information is because you can do this. If you know a child that has somebody who's dying, try to give them some guidance of, maybe we should give them some more information of what's going on. And once again, it's at their level. You may talk to another little junior kindergarten guy that may not need this much information. They may need the help afterwards. Right now, they don't need it. They don't want to know, and that's okay. You know the child. You can tell by talking to them how much you have to tell them and how much you don't. Every child is different, but it's really important that they get to be a part of what is happening in their family. Those words came from a 6-year-old girl, Sarah, that wanted to say goodbye to her mom. She wanted to be a part of what was happening to her family. And that is huge. And those words stuck with me forever. I still can't believe that came out of a 6-year-old's mouth, but she was wise. And that is, as I've shared that with many, many people since then. But it's really important during the dying process that the child get the opportunity to say what they need to say and to do what they need to do to bring them comfort in their grief. So that's the end of this video, and the next one I have help for children who are a little bit older and the parent is dying. So thanks for listening to this one.